Are you for or against, pro or con? And behind those questions, if you are not with us, you're against us. One of the indications of hyperpolarization is that every issue is presented as a black and white either-or choice that can ostracize. About a decade ago, you were either for protecting black lives or you were for supporting the police. That was a false choice. The trend continues. The Passover Seder is an educational exercise with questions, not to seek simple one-sided answers, but to explore contradictions. We are taught to keep asking why, at least 4 times. Why is the table set like this? Why are we doing what we are doing? The ritual brings together opposites. Rabbi Ami says in the Talmud that the charoset neutralizes the poison of the marur. Rabbi Lisa Goldstein also teaches that the freshly leafy greenness of karpas is combined in the brackish preservative of salt. The bitter, tear-inducing marur is combined with the sweetness of charoset. The ritual of dipping, then, is a practice of movement. We literally move one item and physically immerse it in its opposite. She also cites Rabbi Tevel Bandi, a 19th century German rabbi, who explains in Ma'arechet Heidenheim that on the one hand, on Seder night we act like poor slaves, eating cheap matzah and marur, and on the other hand, we behave like wealthy, free citizens, leisurely reclining and dipping our food in a series of courses. Vistirat hadavarim kazu kashe ma'od lahavin leben hashoel. Such contradictory practices are very difficult for the questioning child to understand. How well are we holding contradictions these days? Not so well. For example, I am sure that the war of Israel and the United States against the Iranian government and the aftermath of the war in Gaza complicated Seder in many homes this year. I would guess that some homes hosted one-sided condemnations of Israel, ignoring the culpability of the Ayatollah's terrorists who leave Israel with no good choices and who endanger our synagogues at home with spreading anti-Semitism. I imagine other homes were the opposite, with full-throated displays of Israel can do no wrong and willful blindness, ignoring the internal threats of jingoistic ministers and the abominations committed by radical settlers in the West Bank. Like the Seder, we must relearn to dip this into that and hold the complexity that matzah is both the bread of affliction and liberation. We must see the facts we do not want to see and hear the questions we do not want to hear. We must teach our children how to think, and to do that, we have to resist one-sided false binaries on a variety of issues. Instead of supposed moral clarity that is self-serving, we need to learn to acknowledge real challenges within the boundaries of truth and good faith. Charoset neutralizes the poison of marur. Toxicity permeates many issues, but it doesn't have to. In another example, I believe that most reasonable Americans care about defending our borders against drug cartels and human trafficking, and also appreciate our shared family history of immigrants who came here seeking a better life. The Christian nationalist xenophobic narrative flattens those truths, but we do not have to partake in a culture of scapegoating and cruelty. The Torah teaches that more than one thing can be true at the same time. We must defend our borders, as it says in Deuteronomy, may your locks be iron and copper. We must also welcome the refugee, as it says in Leviticus. Love your neighbor as yourself. The stranger who resides with you shall be to you as one of your citizens. You shall love them as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I, the Eternal, am your God. Embracing paradox also means insisting on due process. As the Torah says in Exodus, there shall be one law for the native and the stranger who sojourns with you. We must therefore be vigilant to protect life and stand up for compassion and justice. Our prayer book says we are Israel. Our Torah forbids the worship of race or nation, possessions or power. Despite the razzle-dazzle of corruption around us, which comes from the top down, we are still responsible and must think for ourselves. We must read entire books again, not just memes while scrolling. We must remember to question authority again. Manish Tana only works if we remember to ask questions in the first place. We must also learn to focus and act. Roving anxiety, while understandable, paralyzes. Pick one issue upon which to take a stand. And while marching and demonstrating may inspire us and give us a sense of solidarity, we must follow through, lobbying our legislators, donating, calling out, and calling in. Generosity and focused actions are not only effective, but can also serve as a tonic. In Judaism, speaking and singing are supposed to be a prelude to action. If you chant the blessing over the wine, then you are supposed to drink the wine. If you say, "Let all who are hungry come and eat," then you're supposed to do something concrete about hunger. Otherwise, we are engaging in a bracha levatala, a prayer in vain. The activist Caesar Cruz famously said, "Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable." In that spirit, I will conclude with a prayer in our Siddur by Rabbi Mitchell Salem Fisher. Rabbi Fisher was a Reform rabbi for the early 20th century at Congregation Road of Shalom in New York. He gave up being a congregational rabbi in 1930 because he wanted to speak about social justice issues and felt stifled. Such are the perils of channeling the Hebrew prophets. His words, however, are still with us and are included in our prayer book. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied. Dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Only then will we experience a complete Shabbat Shalom. As we are proceeding from Pesach, a festival of freedom, to Shavuot, the giving of the Torah, we're going to count